Guys, so today's video is a first impression on a brand new foundation, brand new complexion product in general from Bite Beauty. So excited to show you guys this foundation. We're going to do a first impression, me applying the foundation. You're going to see how I feel about it. And then I'm also going to do about a 5-hour wear test on it as well. So stay tuned to the end of the video to see how it wore throughout the day. And let's get started. Wow, I look so good. Okay, so I have my little sample here. I have the shade L25. I do want to give you some information on this foundation since it is brand new and I'm on the Sephora website. So this is called the Changemaker Supercharged Micellar Foundation, and it is in a like squeeze tube like this. I don't think it has a pump. Yeah, it does not have a pump. It's just a squeeze tube, which is fine. Kind of nice, sleek packaging. I like the nudish pink tone to the packaging. So this is a clean beauty brand as far as I know, but at least for this product, this is a clean beauty product, meaning it is free of a lot of harmful ingredients that some other brands may have, including things like sulfates, SLS and SLES, parabens, phthalates, and more. I don't think this even has any fragrances in it, which can also be really bad for your skin. Okay, so it's a clean, long-wearing foundation. Love the fact that it says long-wearing. Gentle micellar technology that mimics skin texture for a natural, flawless finish. Sounds pretty good. Coverage is medium. I typically like a little bit more closer to full, but I can typically handle medium. Although I do have a healing, thank God, blemish at the moment that hopefully it will be able to cover because it does have some darkness to it. I do have some discoloration and just some hyperpigmentation that I'd like to cover. So hopefully medium is good enough for that. It is for normal, dry, combination, and oily. But I also did see that it said that it was gentle enough for sensitive skin. I believe it said that on the Bite Beauty website. So know that. It is vegan, cruelty-free, gluten-free. It talks about it being long-wearing again. It says it's creamy. It says it perfects your skin, and it calls out a couple other cute ingredients. Reviews on this foundation for both the Bite Beauty website and Sephora are very high. Sephora right now has 111 reviews, and it is at 4.5 on the dot. 97% of people would recommend it. Now that we have some background information, now that we know the claims, we know what we should look for, I am nervous to try this. What makes me nervous to try this is the more natural claim. I don't really like natural makeup most of the time. I'm okay with a medium coverage, but anything that's natural, like a natural finish, I can handle. Natural looking makeup, I don't tend to like. I like makeup. So that makes me a little bit weary, and I'm just wondering if this is gonna be enough coverage, things like that, but we're gonna try it. I'm gonna do a sponge on one side and a brush, or at least start out with a sponge because that's what I typically like to use. If that doesn't work out, then I'll try a brush and see if I like that. We're just gonna go with the flow. This is what the sample looks like up close. You can see it's kind of like a thicker, almost whipped texture. This is not super liquidy. It's not coming out of the container or anything like that. Now, I'm not going to dot this all over my face just yet because I don't know how fast it's gonna dry. I don't feel like it is going to be a self-setting foundation, but we don't really know. So I'm just going to do one side here. With trying a new foundation, you also don't know how much you need. This could be way too much. But again, hearing that it's a more natural medium coverage, I'm not assuming that it's going to be full on this is way too much coverage. So where's my sponge? Okay, found it. So this is damp, but barely. And let's just go ahead. I think this is a good color. I did color match myself. Now on the Bite Beauty website, it does mention using a brush or your fingers to apply. I don't really love using a brush, and I despise the thought of using my fingers. So I'm just doing kind of what I want here. So far the sponge is okay. I think I will try the brush on the other side just to see how that goes. But I'm just gonna put a little bit more on. That blended in pretty quickly. And it does look very natural on my skin. I mean, I'm speaking too soon, but at this very moment, it looks almost like, literally like, oh, that's your skin. Like, it does not look dewy. It does not look matte. It does not look anything. It just looks like my skin. I don't really smell anything, but if I do smell anything, it's a pleasant, very light scent. Okay, so you can see one side of my face and the other. They both have about the same amount of discoloration besides this pimple being its own thing. But you can see, hopefully, this, I'm like kind of speechless a little bit because it literally does still look like my skin, but almost like I put a filter on it. And I don't use that saying or that phrase like, oh, it looks like I have a filter on, like, ever. But this looks like just exactly like my skin, not full coverage. It does look like a medium coverage, even with a little bit of like extra building on it. I can still see a little bit of freckliness. I can still see a little bit of discoloration. This is not masked over my face. It looks exactly like real skin, but just a perfected version. Not perfect, just a perfected version. The finish looks really nice. The finish is very natural skin. I mean, so far at least. Like, I don't know if this is gonna like turn or something. Let's do the other side. Okay, so I can actually see the foundation a little bit more sitting on top of my skin with a brush than I do on this other side with a sponge. So I think that I prefer actually a sponge, which is great because like I mentioned, I like using a sponge. I think the sponge just a little bit better sinks everything into the skin, like it pushes things in, versus with the brush, I did feel like it was kind of sitting on top a little bit. Let me try to add a little bit more where I do see some of my hyperpigmentation peeking through. I do still feel like, yes, this is a medium coverage. This is not going to be full coverage because even with some layering, I do still see a little bit of darkness around this blemish. I do see a little bit of discoloration. Any of the freckles and dark spots that I have like on my nose is still showing. I'm okay with that as long as I go into my makeup look knowing that I'm not doing full on makeup. We went into this first impression knowing that it wasn't claiming to be, so I'm not upset, and I do think that that is a true statement. It is not full coverage. I personally am craving a little bit more coverage, but particularly today, because as you can see, I've already done my eyes and they're kind of dramatic. To me, when I do a dramatic eye, I want a full coverage face. So yes, this is giving me a little less coverage than I would prefer, specifically on a day like today. But as of right now, and not wearing this foundation for any length of time, so I'm speaking way too soon, it does feel like a good everyday foundation, as in running errands, going to work, hanging out, don't really need to look stunning type of day, which is great. There's a time and a place for that. Let me do my forehead now. Okay, so all of the foundation that I need is on my face. Don't have any concealer on or anything like that. It feels pretty lightweight. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a huge mask or a ton of product. Although I can see some of the foundation gathering like in my pores more than like smoothing over. It looks like it is a little bit like sinking into my pores. It's not horrible, but it's just something I'm noticing. Other than that, I'm pleasantly surprised of how well it is holding up to its claims. Besides the long wearing part, I obviously haven't seen how it wears quite yet. The color is really good. Again, it's L25. I don't know quite yet if it's really my style of makeup that I like to wear, but I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup. I'll come back on here and let you know what I think before we do our wear test. Okay guys, so makeup is done. Don't know why I have all this makeup on, but it was really fun. I really like how it turned out. Okay, back to the foundation. Foundation, I feel exactly the same as I typically do in these videos. Everything did go on top nicely, like the concealer went on top, powder went on top, didn't gather, didn't bunch, didn't do anything weird. I was just talking to my sister Morgan on Snapchat, and we were video chatting, and I was showing her, and I was just telling her basically what I'm gonna tell you is I don't like it as much as I like my L'Oreal Pro Glow. This freaking foundation I tried back in November 2019 now, so a couple months ago. I featured it in my 2019 makeup favorites. It's that good. What I like about this one is it's a little more coverage, and it's a little bit like creamier and more perfecting on my skin. This Bite Beauty foundation I do think is really nice. I can see why a lot of people have given it really good reviews. I can see a lot of people enjoying this foundation. If you like a medium coverage, natural finish. I mean, they did describe this foundation spot on. They as in Bite Beauty headquarters or corporate, did a really good job of describing it. It definitely lives up to the claims. Like I just said, I'll have to check in with you later at the end of the night to let you know how it's wearing. Right now, it's actually already 5:20 p.m. I have had this foundation on since I probably finished my makeup completely at 4:45 or something. So right now it's 5:20. I will let you know at the latest point that I can. I'm probably gonna go to bed at 10:30 or something like that. I'll let you know at the latest point of the evening how this is held. So it's not the best wear test in the world. Please forgive me. But I think that we'll get a good idea of all right, where are we looking at as far as wear time? Mostly for this video, I wanted to show what it looks like on my skin. I wanted to give my first impression. What it comes down to for me is I do wish it was a little bit more coverage. I am seeing a little bit of the freckles. Like I said, I'm seeing some darkness on this blemish that I wish was not as evident. Other than that, it's really, really nice, and I can see wearing it for every day. I probably will use up this sample because why not? I like it a lot. However, it doesn't beat this drugstore foundation for me. This is just it. As of now, that completes this portion of the video. I will see you guys in a few hours and give you my final thoughts. Hey guys. Okay, so it is the end of the night for me. It is literally 10 o'clock, on the dot. I'm on the floor of my bathroom, which is probably super sanitary, but I cannot be bothered to go into the beauty room, so I apologize. But I wanted to let you know my thoughts on the foundation. So I'm gonna look in my phone here that I'm filming on. I think you can hopefully tell it has held up really well. I have completely messed this area up because I had a whole ass cheeseburger. But other than that, it has lasted really well. Yes, it has not been 9, 10, 12 hours that I typically would like to give you guys for a wear test, but at least for the 5 hours I've worn it, I'm pretty impressed with the longevity. One thing that I always look for when I am doing a wear test or trying to see how well foundation is lasting on my skin is how it looks around my smile lines. I have a very deep set smile. I've talked about it a lot. I'm always going to have any sort of liquid product crease in those areas, and even sometimes powder products. Now you can see that it has creased a little bit, specifically on this crease here, but it is really not that bad. A lot of foundations have creased way worse than that on me at this point, and so I actually am impressed with that, and I wasn't expecting that to be a benefit of this foundation, but I am happy with that. As you can see, my blemish is still loud and proud, so that's really annoying, but it doesn't look any worse. No coverage has dissipated from it. Final thoughts on the foundation are this. I think that it is a pretty good foundation. I don't dislike this foundation. I'm not going to buy this foundation, however, because, and how these videos usually turn out are, I have the same opinion that I had at the beginning. which is that I happen to like the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation a little bit more than I like this one. I like the coverage of that foundation a little bit more. I like the creaminess that it gives my skin a little bit more. And therefore, if I can buy a $10 to $12 foundation over I think this one's like $38 foundation from Sephora, why would I? Like if I like that one better. That said, it does not mean this is a bad foundation. Like I said, I think that it is pretty darn good, and I can see some people really liking it, especially if you can apply it with your fingers, like the Bite Beauty website suggests that you do. If you like a medium coverage foundation that gives you a very natural, believable looking finish, then I do think that you'd like this. This is one of the only foundations I've ever seen that, like I mentioned, looks just like skin, but slightly perfected. I do have to give props to Bite Beauty because every single claim they made about this foundation is true. Anyways, you guys get what I'm saying by now, hopefully. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please click the thumbs up button down below this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If it's your first time here, my name is Natalie and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you guys all again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.